This is Mary Byers with Associations Today. My guest is Leslie Wiernik, Executive Director of the National Association of Subrogation Professionals. Leslie, for those who aren't familiar with your association, let's start with a description of what you do and who you do it for.
Thanks, Mary. Absolutely. Thanks for having me, first of all. National Association of Subrogation Professionals is an association that is a niche of the insurance industry. The subrogation industry is a hot and heavy topic right now because it's a way that insurance carriers can look to get some of their money back that they've paid on claims.
Wonderful. I know that the insurance industry has a lot of associations, and that your organization cooperates with many of them. Talk about the genesis of that and how that all came about.
Well, we're already working with many other industry associations within the insurance industry. And, it came to us several years ago that if we are paying to attend their conferences, if I'm speaking at their conferences, if we're having booths at their conferences, sponsoring, advertising, and they're doing the same at ours, and many times we share some of the same members as well. There's some crossover there. Why shouldn't we work together? We believe that two non-competing trade associations can work together for the benefit of their members. And so we started looking at partnering with these industry associations and sharing things like booth swaps, advertising swaps, writing for each other's publications, speaking at events, and so forth.
So each of the agreements is a little bit different, and I suspect that's probably based on the association and what you can come to agreement on. But I'm particularly interested in the membership discounts that you offer. If a member is a member of another group and then also a member of yours, how does that work?
What we've done is we kind of break it into two tiers of partnerships. And the first tier is just what we talked about, where we start small and we reevaluate that at the end of the first year, for example. And if the booth swaps and attending others' conferences and educational events works and there's value to both, then we kind of move to a second tier level where we say, could we benefit by each other's members hearing from each other's experts, if you will. So we're expanding and becoming more diverse by offering our membership the leadership or the expertise from another association's group. So what we've done is, one in particular that we're very pleased with the outcome, is we've offered this other group's members a complimentary membership in our organization. We call it a test drive membership for 1 year. And the benefit is they get to learn a lot about us, and we get to learn a lot about them. We expand our membership, and we can grow in many different ways. And at the end of that 12-month period, it's our hope that they will remain as a member, a dues-paying member of our association.
How often does that happen? Have you been tracking that? Do you have any idea what percentage of members actually remain?
Actually, we do, and I'm pleased to say that in this one particular instance where we've had a test drive membership for the last 3 years with this group, we've experienced about a 10% retention in those members who stay on with NASP. And what we find is the speakers in our webinars and podcasts, which are, by the way, free for our members, are happy because they're now having upwards of 800-900 folks on a webinar or listening in on their speaking presentation. So they're not just speaking to the same crowd over and over again.
So there's a little bit of a secondary benefit. It's not just about the membership piece of it, but it's also in the value you can deliver to members, but also to some of the speakers that you partner with, and perhaps some of the other sponsorships. Or sponsors that you have. When you think about these collaborations and the one that has worked the best for you, or the few that have worked the best for you, what's been true about them?
I would say, first of all, the collaboration that has worked best for us is that it has allowed us to gain a lot of knowledge about other associations. Some of these, the best collaborations that we've had, we've used as a soundboard to even share ideas with regard to conference vendors. For example, we found our association database through one of these partnerships. We've shared our conference app vendor and those recommendations with another association sponsorship. So it helps our members. It drives revenue to our association. We can save expense by helping each other with recommendations of vendors that could service our industry. And quite honestly, it impacts us positively on the expense on our budget, because we're not paying then to pay for a booth or to pay for the advertising, but we're getting a lot of marketing value out of these industry association partnerships.
Are these all written formal agreements, or are any of them verbal? And if they're written, when you initially were coming up with the things that needed to be in the contract, what kinds of things were you thinking about?
We're not necessarily proposing a formal contract. The way that we've handled it is I usually have meetings with the leadership of these other associations, propose that we start small, which would be my recommendation, small bites of the elephant, and to see what benefits work best. And at the end of those meetings, which we take notes from and we circulate those, then I will put together an email memorializing what that next 12 months is going to look like. And I circulate that to our leadership and to their leadership. And then we do periodic check-ins, quarterly perhaps, so that we ensure that both sides are meeting the expectations of that partnership.
For an organization that might not currently be doing collaboration in the way you are, but that is interested in doing it, you've mentioned one suggestion, and that is starting small and then going back and taking a look and see how it's really working before you jump in with both feet. Are there any other pieces of advice that you would share?
My piece of advice would be not to be afraid to give it a try. You do have to start small, and I firmly agree with that. And you have to evaluate step by step whether it makes sense for you. It shouldn't be costing you money. It shouldn't be costing you members. It should benefit both, mutually beneficial. But I would say don't be afraid to give it a try. A lot of associations believe that they are competing with each other, and maybe you have to do some research to find out if an organization that you would like to have a partnership with could be a competing organization. But I would suggest that give it a try. If you're not a competing group, there is some mutual benefit to both, and don't be afraid to start small and find something that will benefit both of you.
I think it's interesting that whole competition piece of it, and as we move forward, I believe it's more true than ever that a competitor can also be a collaborator, and that's kind of a unique juxtaposition. But the organizations that I am seeing really thrive are the ones that are willing to do that. So I appreciate that advice and your time today here. This is Mary Byers with Associations Today. I'd like to thank my producer, ComPartners. If you are looking for an online learning provider, I suggest you contact them at compartners.com.